The Red Eye Radio podcast is a service of Freightliner and Detroit.
Now it's Red Eye Radio with talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or just starting your day, welcome to the show. For Gary McNamara and Eric Harley, Rick Roberts. This is Red Eye Radio.
And thank you so much. Always a pleasure to be in for the guys when they're away. All right, something kind of special for you here. I don't know if it's impacted you, impacted your family, your business. A good friend of mine, Curtis Ellis, just a great guy. I may try to get him on the show before too long. He made a statement, said Trump never bought into America's decline. And that's true. He never did, because Trump's not a loser. He's a winner. And anything he's involved with, he wants it to be a winner. So Curtis came up with the top 10 things the experts got wrong in 2019. You know, Harry Truman said an expert was a fellow who was afraid to learn anything new because then he wouldn't be an expert anymore. And that's has something to be said for it. 2019 is going to go down as the year everything the experts told us was absolutely wrong. Now, it's in no particular order, but it's a hit parade of things that the experts got terribly wrong in 2019. But more importantly, what were you told? What information did you get? When you came home at the end of a long day and, patted the dog on the head, talked to the kids, flipped on TV, is this what you heard? Is this how you were making business decisions? Is this how you were making personal finance decisions at home? I mean, they talk about the fake media. They talk about the fact that, people everywhere are trying to bury Trump and, so they don't get it right. It's not that important. Where did you get this information? Let's start with the economy. Who told you the economy was going to crash? The experts told us the economy would slide into recession. Do you remember that? Do you recall that? I do, like it was yesterday. Well, at year's end, unemployment is at a 50-year low. The latest jobs report blew the doors off the stock market. It hit record highs. So did holiday sales. But the experts all told us that the Trump economy was the only benefiting the rich. Trump's economy was only going to benefit the rich and the super rich. Oops, didn't turn out that way. Where did you hear that? Who told you that? How many times have you heard Pelosi say, or Warren say, a crazy Uncle Bernie say? The only thing that the tax cuts did was benefit the rich. No, wages for everyone, and that includes all of you listening to me, are going up. Workers at the bottom end of the pay scale are seeing bigger gains than those at the top. Not because Rick Roberts said so, but because of the White House and the reports that they do every month. The ones at the bottom are seeing bigger gains than the ones at the top. But what were you told about the economy? Were you told that? Were you told, oh, yeah, wages are going to go up, pretty soon, people are going to go. Where were you told, and when, and by whom? Here's another oldie but goodie. Tariffs are a tax on consumers. I don't know how many arguments I've had on the radio from people that heard from the left when President Trump zapped Red China with tariffs. And you know why he did it. It was to punish the communist dictators from cheating us for all those years, making good on yet another campaign promise. The commentary went into full freak-out mode, didn't it? Yeah, we were told, oh, my God, Trump has offended the gods of the global economy. We're gonna suffer their wrath. The global economy is going to come crashing down on America. The plague of inflation will be visited upon the land for all ye tariffs and abomination. That's what you were told, wasn't it? Who told you that? Where did you get that information? The data is in. Inflation was just that. It was flat, zip, nada. Now, how could that possibly be when we were told consistently over and over and over and over again, oh, we're done. It's over with. Biden even said it. As the tariffs got higher, China cut prices, raised export subsidies in order to hold on to their customers, right? Were you told that, or did they leave that part out? You know, the experts were taught that in school, and since they're afraid of learning anything new, they couldn't see it even as it was happening. Where did you get this information? Who told you the economy was going to collapse? Who told you inflation was coming? Who? How about this? Other countries won't work with President Trump. In the very beginning of his administration, do you remember that? The media Illuminati, or whatever you want to call them, told us that President Trump's America First agenda made it absolutely impossible for other countries to work with us at all. It's only by giving away the store that America can win friends around the world, right? That's what Obama told us. That's what the experts learned in college, so it must be true. President Trump knew that being the largest consumer nation in the world gives us tremendous leverage. And he played it to the hilt. He told Mexico, it better stop illegal immigrants from crossing our border, or you're going to get punishing tariffs. Mexico not only sealed its border, but it signed a new trade deal, the USMCA, which replaced NAFTA. Trump promised to replace that NAFTA, and it was a disaster from day one. Another campaign promise fulfilled. Meanwhile, China came to the negotiating table. Great Britain's chomping at the bit to strike a deal with us. Now, to the expert dummies, America First does not mean America alone. But how many times were you told by the left, by CNBC, by MSNBC, by CNN, how many times were you told, well, that's it, we're done? Trump has just put a wedge between us and everybody else. We're going to be out here floating around by ourselves. It's all over. It's all over with. Do you remember being told this? Do you remember being told our economy was going to be in the tank, that China was going to ostracize us, that Mexico wouldn't work with us, Canada didn't want anything to do with us, the European Union, they hate our gut. Do you remember this? Every single bit of it was wrong. Who told you this? And I ask you that for a reason. You know, I was just talking to someone here in the studio. On my website, I've got 384 individual accomplishments by this administration, President Trump. 384. He's done more than the last three presidents combined, either through legislation or executive order. And he didn't do it just for rich people, didn't do it just for Republicans. He did it for the country. And that includes Republicans, Democrats, apolitical, everybody. Did you hear any of that on the evening news? Did you read any of that in your newspaper? No, you did not. Why? Everyone is in the tank to get rid of the spoiler. Trump is the spoiler. He's not playing the political game. He's not doing the wink, wink, nod, nod. We can all get rich on the backs of tax-paying Americans. And, hey, we're insulated in this bubble that is the nation's capital. He doesn't care about that. He doesn't need the money. He owns a bigger house. He has one thing and one thing in mind, trying to do what he campaigned on. He's a winner. He's a winner. So where did you hear all of this stuff? Who were the experts that gave you all this great information about the economy, about the tariffs, about China? Remember manufacturing jobs out there? Remember Obama talking about this? Yeah, well, those jobs, they're not coming back. They won't come back. It's over. This is a favorite of the smart set. The Economist. They've all got all these PhDs behind their name. It's so old and used up. It's ridiculous. Trump proved it's a bald-faced lie. The bald-faced lie. He proved that. America added over 500,000 manufacturing jobs since Trump was sworn in, including some 76,000 factory jobs in 2019 alone. So if I were to ask you, be perfectly honest with me, don't hold back, how did the media treat you as far as giving you the real information about what was going on with your president, whether you voted for him or not, with your country, with your state, with your job? How did the media do? I'm just curious if you were grading them. We'll find out what you think. 866-90-RED-EYE. That's 866-907-3339. Hey, you're the only one that counts. How did the media do in 2019? I'm Rick Roberts. This is Red Eye Radio.
Analyzing the oil in your vehicle is like sending your blood to the lab for tests. After you have submitted your LubeScan kit, technicians will check for elemental metals, including the presence of metals and other elements such as aluminum, chromium, iron, lead, copper, calcium, and more. Knowing the levels of these materials can help you identify wear patterns in a specific part of your engine. High amounts of wear metal usually indicate an abnormal wear or corrosion problem. Technicians will also check for insoluble matter like carbon, fuel, and dirt. The insolubles test measures how fast the oil is oxidizing and receiving contaminants and how effectively the system's oil filtration is functioning. Analysis will measure the oil's viscosity, its alkalinity or acid level, and if the proper level of detergents and anti-wear additives are present. If your oil falls out of the range it's supposed to be in, the oil could have been overheated or contaminated. The LubeScan report will detail the results of these tests and provide an overall condition of the sample, ranging from normal to severe. If you've used LubeScan before, the report will include any changes from earlier analysis. For more information, visit Cenex.com.
This maintenance tip is brought to you by TA Truck Service. More bays, more expertise, more solutions.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90-RED-EYE.
All across America, it's Red Eye Radio. Rick Roberts in for Gary McNamara. And Eric Harley, thank you so much for being a part of the show. We appreciate that. Curtis Ellis, good friend of mine, came up with the top 10 things everybody, all the experts, got wrong in 2019. But really, I'm going to narrow it down. The media, the lamestream media, they're the ones that gave you all this wrong information. So if you were grading the media, how would you grade them? And by the way, we're going to get back to your calls on a national gun law allowing people to carry in churches. Had it not been for some people this morning in a small Texas town, we could be talking about something pretty devastating. How about this? Number 6, the Trump campaign conspired with Russia. I don't even need to ask you about that. I mean, every media outlet under the sun was reporting that. All the serious people seriously expected special counsel Mueller was going to expose President Trump as a Russian puppet. Remember that? Oh, yeah. He's a Russian puppet with a comb-over. You got to watch this guy. Well, instead, Mueller ended up exposing himself as a figurehead in a multi-million-dollar investigation he had no control over. And he found no conspiracy by the Trump campaign at all. He just spent $50-60 million of your tax-paying dollars. Well, you won't miss it. Besides that, it's going for a good cause. What's the good cause? Chasing ghosts under the bed. And that brings us to the FBI didn't spy on the Trump campaign. Good Lord. Robert Mueller and his media cohorts, they missed the biggest conspiracy of all, the subversion of our democracy by elements of the FBI. Hello, Comey. And intelligence services working with who else? The Hillary Clinton campaign. That was your collusion. The report from Inspector General Horowitz scratched the surface in revealing the biggest scandal in U.S. history, and you didn't get any of it. The lamestream media continues to insist the FBI didn't spy on Trump. No, we didn't spy on him. What? That plant from the FBI in his campaign? Nah, he's just getting coffee. That's it. Presidential transition team, administration, the whole works. The evidence clearly shows now that's exactly what was happening. That's what was happening. So all those people that were rolling their eyes when Trump said they're spying on me, I got people tapping my phones. And remember that? Everybody just rolling their eyes. Oh, here we go. Some egomaniacal reality show billionaire. Yeah, okay, Mr. Trump, they're spying on you. Turns out he was right. He was right. Who do you blame for all this wrong information? You blame the Democrats because they used it for their benefit? Do you blame Washington? Do you blame the lamestream media? All the experts got this wrong. Not just a little wrong, a whole lot wrong. So who do you blame? It's important that we find out the source of all this bad information so that we can fix it. You see what I'm saying? It needs to be fixed. All right, let's get to your call. I know a lot of you still want to call about the last couple hours topics, and that's fine. Let's go to Charles in Arizona. Charles, thank you for waiting. How you doing, Charles?
Not a problem, man. I'm glad you guys finally got it where it's live. I've been trying to talk on this radio station for a long time, but I'll be brief because I know you want to go on with the other subject. I got a couple quick things. One, you was talking about proficiency. Well, I'm retired Army. I've been on everything from an 8-inch howitzer down to a 9mm pistol. I've served on the border for a year and a half. I was on the border when Agent Terry got killed, so I carried an M16 with rounds on me down there. And I've never had a problem. What I was thinking is, just because you can fire something doesn't mean you have the mentality to actually use it. When I was in Iraq, somebody detonated an IED by my truck, and I actually aimed a .50 caliber machine gun in their direction and started firing. But that was because something actually happened to me. And my last comment was to that guy in Virginia. I don't think he has to worry about the National Guard doing anything, because the first thing, they would have to clear out the National Guard, because a lot of National Guardsmen, because I was in the National Guard here in Arizona, a lot of the National Guardsmen own ARs, and they would have to clean house before they go clean somebody else's house on firearms, period. And that ain't going to happen, trust me.
No, well, first of all, let me say this. Thank you for the service, and if you listen to me at all, you know, that's not blowing smoke. I'm being sincere. Second of all, you think the National Guard or any branch of the military is going to listen to some half-baked politician out of D.C.? Go get their guns. Yeah, and their little dog, too. You really think that's going to happen? Trump's not going to call for that. This administration's not going to call for that. You know, crazy Pelosi might. Chucky Schumer might. You know, Schiff may. But nobody's going to listen to them. They don't have any juice, or at least not juice like that. Now, you can look down the road. What if we're a socialist nation, Rick? Well, if we get to that point, then I guess we get the government we deserve. You know, if we get to that point, we're in bad shape, because socialism is simply a rest stop on the highway to communism. All right. 1-866-90-RED-EYE. 866-907-3339. I'm Rick Roberts on Red Eye Radio.
Phone lines are open. 1-866-907-3339. 866-90-RED-EYE. Now, for Gary McNamara and Eric Harley, Rick Roberts.
And thank you so much. Appreciate it. Here's the talk line, 866-90-RED-EYE. That's 866-907-3339. Some of you have been very patient. Going to get to your calls in just a second. I'm going to finish this up real quick. The top 10 things the experts all got wrong in 2019. And you were told all this wrong information. By what? By the media. Yeah, how do you think the media did in 2019? We took a look back, the year in review. Nobody's pointing a bright light of day on the media. How did they do in 2019? Well, first of all, they said the economy's going to crash. It didn't. Tariffs are a tax on consumers. It wasn't. Other countries won't work with President Trump. That was a lie. Manufacturing jobs won't come back. They did. Trump's tax cuts are for the wealthy and will create Armageddon. They did not. The Trump campaign conspired with Russia. Yeah, that wasn't true either. The FBI didn't spy on the Trump campaign. Well, now we know they did. And China is our friend. Remember that one? Yeah, every Democrat in Washington, oh, listen, Communist China is going to become a freedom-loving ally of the United States. All we have to do is give them money and our technology and all our jobs, and they'll be the biggest buds in town. Remember that? Well, this year we saw the Chinese Communist Party brutalize American flag-waving pro-democracy protesters. Remember that in Hong Kong? Imprison millions more in concentration camps, bulldoze Christian churches, jail pastors, export its model of all kinds of control around the world. That's when it's not busy, threatening the NBA and hacking its way into every computer it can find. So, yeah, that didn't work out so hot either. How about America's decline is inevitable? Remember, every single Democrat, it's all over. You know, this is the foundational belief of the elites who command the heights of American academia, finance, media, and government. So I'm supposed to sit on my hands and widen my eyes and listen to everything they say. The policy doesn't work. The inevitability of war when a new rising power, Communist China, threatens to displace the current ruling power in the United States. None of this is true. President Trump never bought America's decline. Ever. That's earned him the underlying, well, I guess you could say, the bet against America crowd? Yeah, probably not. And finally, on the short list of things the experts told us were wrong, the corporate media are objective. Well, we never believed that anyway, right? Prediction for 2020, President Trump will continue to prove the experts wrong just like he did in 2019. Just like he did in 2019. It's, for the life of me, I don't get it. Why are we Americans taking this pablum, what's being regurgitated by the media, and saying, oh, here's the news today? Every single bit of it was wrong. All of it was wrong. All right, let me get to your phones. 866-90-RED-EYE. That's 866-907-3339. Where am I going here? Let's go to John. John's in Tennessee. John, thank you for waiting. How you doing, John?
I'm doing great. Thank you for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
I think the Democratic Party is nothing but the media is nothing but a branch of the Democratic Party, and I think their job is to tear down anybody and anybody's ideas that differ from their own.
I would agree.
And I don't know who's giving them the catchphrase that they say every day when they're all saying the same thing. But to me, that's all they are.
Well, I just went through 10 things, courtesy of Curtis Ellis. Every single one of those things, we were told consistently, day after day, week after week, month after month, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. All of it was proved wrong. They're supposed to be the media. They're not supposed to be prognosticators. They're not Madame Cleo. Why can't they just give us the news of the day?
I know you can't believe a word they say. I mean, if they told me the sky was blue, I'd have to go outside to look and see, because they've told so many lies about Trump and his campaign. I just can't believe it. It's terrible what they've done.
Well, if you were grading the media, we took a look back, what was it, Friday night or Thursday night, I guess. The year in review 2019, a lot of great Westwood One news reporters worked on that. Let's grade the media for 2019. How would you grade them?
I really don't know what kind of mark to give them. All they've shown me is that you can't believe a single word they say, so they have failed miserably as a media.
Couldn't agree with you more. I appreciate your comments, John. And John's right. Why should you believe anything? I mean, anything. CNN and MSNBC and Headline News and most of the alphabet channels, you can turn it on anytime, day or night. I mean, get up set an alarm. Get up at 4 a.m. Go turn it on. And then Trump did. And it was like, wait a minute. No one man can be up to so much evil. This has got to be pre-planned. You know, all that stuff I gave you about inflation, recession, and here we go, it's all over now, and the manufacturing jobs won't come back, and no, the FBI wasn't conspiring. All of it was a lie. They had Kent in Chicago. Kent, thanks for waiting.
Hey, my pleasure. Good morning. I'm 53 years old, and my entire life, whether it was at 3 major news networks when I was a young kid with Jimmy Carter, or up until the boiling point with Donald Trump, they've lied to the American public. It's the same routine. It just on a larger scale. They try to basically topple a duly elected president. But they've been lying to us in this country for ever since the media in my life has been around. So this is nothing new.
Well, you can't tell me, as I sit here behind the microphone, that this wasn't a concerted effort between the liberal elites, the Democrats, and the lamestream media to try and create and benefit from a silent coup.
100%. And you know what? I think the American public knows that, and Mueller knew it, and everybody that was involved. Adam Schiff's an idiot, obviously. There's other people up the food chain, though, like Comey and Mueller, that aren't stupid, and they absolutely conspired to try to topple the administration, and they know what they did. And, the history will hopefully record it, and that's all we can hope for.
Well, you know what?
Because this stuff is going to go on.
You're right, but here's the thing. This wasn't just a silent coup against President Donald J. Trump and his entire administration. This was a silent coup against 63 million people that put him in office. That's what this was. It was, oh, my God, oh, no, somebody opened up Pandora's box. What do you mean? Somebody opened up the box and gave the power that we protected here in Washington. They opened up the box and gave it to the American people. They don't know what to do with it. We're the ones that know what to do with it. See, this is the thing that drives me nuts. They're supposed to be working for us. We're not supposed to be working for them. And at the end of the day, here comes politician Trump and says, hey, the power belongs with the people. And he opens up the box, and there you go. He's not beholden to any special interest group or even a political party for that matter. And these people lost their minds. You had the FBI, the Department of Justice. Remember Clinton? I did not have sex with that woman. Remember all of that out on the tarmac? Yeah. The Department of Justice, FBI, the previous administration, the MSNBC, CNN, all the media, most of the newspapers, working hand in glove with the Democrat Party to do what? To do what? Take the power away from you. The power that this one man, this non-politician, the power that he was able to wrench away from these political parties and give back to the American people, they came after it. They came after it with a vengeance. That power belongs to us. You're the unwashed masses. You just pay us once a year and everything will be fine. Do you see what I'm talking about? Good Lord, how could we stand by? We ought to be screaming from every single rooftop in America, hell no, you can't have the country. It belongs to me. It belongs to my kid. It belongs to our legacy. It doesn't belong to a handful of political elitists that live in a cocoon in the nation's capital. It belongs to all of us. This is what happens. This is exactly what happens when you make that political train jump the track and start working the way it was supposed to be working for we the people, not for them, the political elite. I'm Rick Roberts. This is Red Eye Radio.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90-RED-EYE on Red Eye Radio.
All across America, it's Red Eye Radio. Rick Roberts in for Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's always a pleasure to be in for the guys when they're away. Normally, you can find me during the day, Monday through Friday, doing afternoon drive, 2 to 5 Central Time in Dallas, Texas at News Talk, 820 WBAP. All right, let me get to your calls. Let's go to Stu in Pennsylvania. Stu, thank you for waiting. I appreciate your patience. How you doing, Stu?
Well, thank you, Rick. You're a voice in the wilderness. I think you and John the Baptist have something in common. But,
thank you.
It's kind of rare that you hear a radio station or TV or anybody that really has any cognitive speech that goes out that's worth something. But I told your interviewer that I was going to bring up the UN, and the reason why I want to bring up the UN is because of gun control. A lot of people sound very confident. You just had a fellow on there who was in the military and different other people speaking about gun control, but what you don't often hear is that the United Nations has had a plan for complete and total disarmament of this country. People can look it up. It's series, it's a state publication, 7222, Series 5, 1963, I believe. But it's total, complete disarmament of this country, and all you have to do, people listening, is look at the statue of a civilian weapon that's in front of the UN. It's a revolver, and it has the muzzle tied in a knot. Well, that statue conveys a message, and the message is that the civilian people will be disarmed, and the UN, which is militarized, and they've used their military around the world to commit genocides. And this is what James, it was very angry, and you spoke with him very well. But this is what people that are against guns want to think about, because the only thing that protects our rights is this antiquated weapon, a gun that launches a piece of lead from gunpowder. That's the only thing we have that's protecting our freedoms. And our founders were not stupid idiots. I think their IQ surpasses anybody except for a handful like Trey Gowdy or some of them down there. But they dealt with tyranny and persecution firsthand. They didn't read about it in books. They didn't go to college to read about it. They were dealing with it firsthand. So when Jefferson said, when you see the Second Amendment being infringed, be it known you're about ready to lose the rest of your rights.
Well, let me, if I may, because I've got like 30 seconds left here, let me respond if I can. For my money, you can bulldoze the UN any day. I've never had any use for somebody that votes a majority of the time against this country headquartering here. It's sort of, in my mind, like CARE, the Council on American Islamic Relations. Why the hell are they in America? Well, that's a whole nother show. The members in the UN, they agree to accept the UN Charter, and it states that the UN's 4 main purposes are to maintain peace, security, develop friendly relations, and so on. But here lately, the United States isn't taking care of the UN financially. I'll tell you what I mean next. I'm Rick Roberts, Red Eye Radio.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now it's Red Eye Radio with talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or just starting your day, welcome to the show. For Gary McNamara and Eric Harley, Rick Roberts. From the Pilot Flying J Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
And thank you so much. Always a pleasure to be in for the guys when they're away. And I'll be with you tomorrow night and Tuesday morning as well. So hopefully, if you get a chance, please join me. 866-90-RED-EYE. That's 866-907-3339. Let's get to these calls. Let's go to David in Indiana. David, thank you for your patience. I appreciate it. Hi.
Hey, thank you for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
The issue that I'd like to bring up is Second Amendment for us that operate semis for a living. I'm in my 50th year, and it is illegal for us to carry a weapon in our semi to protect ourselves. Yet we have to sleep on off-ramps in rest areas, vacant parking lots, but yet we can't protect ourselves. We're probably the most discriminated against industry in this country. We can only work 60 hours in 7 days. With the new ELDs, it's putting all the trucks on the road during the day, which have seen an increase in driver fatalities.
Let me ask you this. Be honest with me. How many truckers, because I know a lot of guys that drive big rigs all over the place. How many truckers go ahead and carry a firearm anyway?
I would guess maybe probably 80%.
Yeah, I think that's probably about right. I understand the limitation on the hours driving. If I understand
that. Not to interrupt you, I understand, it's a necessity to have the limitation of hours, but the way they have them set up today, I'm being forced to drive whether I'm tired or I'm sick. Right now I'm sitting here waiting for a 10-hour break to get over for the next 3 hours while the temperature's dropping, and I get to drive in the snow in the morning. It was 50 degrees when I woke up.
Yeah, look, it's not an easy thing, and I've heard, I don't know the particulars on, no, if you're a driver, you can't carry a firearm. I would totally, well, I can't say it on the air, but that makes no sense to me at all.
It doesn't. I should be able to protect myself.
Yeah, it's not as though you're going to pull that rig into a well-lighted area with, lots of protection around. Most of the time, you guys are off in the boonies on some rest stop someplace, and God forbid you'd ever have to call and get help. It'd be a while.
Oh, absolutely. First of all, you'd have to know your milepost, before they could even find you.
Yeah, that's true. Absolutely true. But you doing okay other than that?
Oh, I'm doing fine. Next October, I'll have my 50 years in, and I'm going to quit.
50 years. Wow. Wow, that's
50
amazing.
years, 7.5 million miles, accident-free.
Is that right? Wow, impressive. Well, what are you going to do after driving for 50 years? What are you going to do then?
Don't exactly know. I think I'm going to probably buy one of those toy box trailers, put my Harley in it, and go see all the things in this country that I only see signs for. Like Grand Canyon, 35 miles this way. Black Hills, 15 miles that way.
Yep.
But we never get to stop to see those things.
You know what? Good for you. I really hope you do that. I'm serious. I mean, I hope...
I did. 3 years ago, I took a month off and got on my bike and made a left turn out of my driveway and went to the West Coast through Yellowstone. I rode the Immigrant Trail and went through the fossil beds and the hot springs. And I absolutely had a wonderful time. I took my fishing pole, my sleeping bag, and a tent. And when I felt like camping, I camped. When I needed a shower, I went and got a motel.
David, impressive. That many miles, that many years accident-free. David, I'm glad you called. Thank you so much. I don't care who you are. That's impressive. That's a good deal. David, thank you. Let's go to George in San Mateo. George, thank you for waiting. How you doing, George?
I'm doing fine. 2 points. Answer to your first question is Paul Krugman. He's got the Nobel Prize in Economics, teaches at Princeton, writes for the New York Times. He said if we switched from Keynesian economics to supply-side economics, the economy would crash and never recover. Well, we did it, and it's not crashing, and it's booming. And that shows you what the Nobel Prize is worth, and Paul Krugman's an idiot. Second point.
Well, don't forget Al Gore's got it. Don't forget Al Gore's got one of those too.
Al Gore and Barack Obama got it too, and they're a couple of idiots. Second point, the AR-15. Hey, all you got to do is ban the high-velocity ammunition. It's a tiny little bullet the size of a .22 long rifle, but the ammunition fires it at 4,000 feet per second. And it does tremendous tissue damage because when it hits something hard like bone, the little bullet shatters. Well, there's a .22 caliber version of the AR-15 platform. Just ban the ammunition and let them sell the .22 caliber version. That only goes 1,800 feet per second, makes a little hole, bounces off of a bone or embeds in it, but it doesn't do all the tissue damage.
So what you're basically telling me, you're going to get rid of the 223 round, replace it with a 22.
You're absolutely right. And they sell a .22 caliber version of the AR-15 now. I've seen it advertised, and Big Five Sporting Goods used to sell it.
Well, unfortunately, I don't have one of those. They already make it. Yeah. So
Turner, there's a operation called Turner Firearms or something like that. I get their advertisement in one of the publications. I can't remember which one it is. I get it every few weeks. And they're advertising a .22 caliber version.
Yeah, well, like I said, this is, what is this, 20 years ago? It's longer than that. It's got to be longer than that. I was in, where was I? Gillette, Wyoming. And I had driven into Gillette to meet with my supervisors on an oil and gas job, and this gun shop was going out of business. Not a big place. And a friend of mine, she bought a Peacemaker, and he had these AR-15 Colt Sporters for sale, and I mean, just ridiculously low. And so I bought two of them just for investments, figuring they'd go up. But they're 223s; they're not 22s. But I've never understood that. If you're a bad guy, it doesn't matter whether you have a 22 or a 45 ACP. You're going to hurt somebody, right? And if you don't have a gun, I'll go out and get a hammer. For the life of me, we need to stop politicizing all the ills of this country. You got some really screwed up people that need to be taken in hand, need to be supervised, maybe medicated. I don't know. It doesn't have anything to do with a gun. Nobody's going down to the local gun shop buying a rocket launcher or a bazooka. Stop. But see, the politicians, they do this. Well, if I'm elected, I'll make sure this type of weapon never gets in the hand. Okay, stop. You're proving yourself to be foolish. And quite honestly, I'm embarrassed for you. We need to work on dealing with the core issue. And the core issue is we're raising a lot of really dumb kids and a lot of evil people. Oh, Rick, that's unfair to say. It may be unfair, but it's true. I mean, when I went to high school, every truck in the parking lot had a gun in the back window, and the windows rolled down. Nobody got shot. Now, if it was a hardware issue, wouldn't those guns jump off the racks, jump out the window, and go hunting somebody down? No, it was because of the people. If you wanted to get over on somebody, you fist fought. It was a fist fight. You can go pull out a gun and shoot them. So it's our problem. It's not the hardware problem. And any politician, any of these free-to-be, you and me, hug-a-tree, wide-eyed, hair-on-fire liberals that say, well, if you'll vote for me, I'll get rid of this, and you're not going to get rid of anything. And all you're doing is lying to people that are just totally uninformed, unplugged. They don't know what's going on. So they're willing to take their marching orders from some idiot like yourself, and all you care about is getting your seat at the table of power so you can stay there till you fall over. Did I say, was that out? That was out loud, wasn't it? I think it was. All right. 866-90-RED-EYE. That's 866-907-3339. I'm Rick Roberts on Red Eye Radio.
A recent USDA-led ag trade mission to Mexico allowed ethanol industry representatives an opportunity to pitch their product to buyers and consumers in that potential export marketplace. According to Jeff Cooper, who participated in the mission on behalf of the Renewable Fuels Association,
they're very excited about transitioning to E10 nationwide in Mexico. There are some regulatory and legal hurdles that need to be overcome before that happens, but we're on our way, I think, to really opening that Mexican market as well, again, with the help of USDA and our partners at the Grains Council and other places.
He adds that Mexico currently imports some U.S. ethanol, but with the move to E10 in that market, plus once the USMCA trade agreement is ratified and implemented,
that's a potential 1.2 billion gallon ethanol market south of the border. We think within 5 years that market could be fully opened up, and we think the U.S. is in a good position to really help meet demand down there.
Mexico is also the U.S. largest export market for dried distillers grades, which is used in part as an ethanol feedstock. I'm Ron Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
The USDA report is brought to you by Cenex Roadmaster XL Premium Highway Diesel Fuel.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90-RED-EYE.
All across America, it's Red Eye Radio. I'm Rick Roberts, in for Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. Always a pleasure to be in for the guys when they're away. Normally you find me cross town out of Dallas, Texas, doing afternoon drive Monday through Friday, 2 to 5 at News Talk WBAP. Okay, for the duration of the show, I'm going to try to get to as many calls as I possibly can. 866-90-RED-EYE. That's 866-907-3339. Let's go to Minnesota, talk with Bob. Bob, thank you for your patience. How you doing, Bob?
Rick, thanks for putting me on, man. Here, this gentleman that called, I'm the one that told you about the New Orleans story, okay? Christmas?
Yes.
Here's the deal, man. People need to wake up and figure out what they're signing when they sign a contract to drive a damn truck. Excuse my French, but it's like the Second Amendment. Everybody has the Constitution. Do you have the Constitution that was written 60 years ago? Look at the Second Amendment and tell me what's missing. The last sentence today, the last sentence is missing. Now, this gentleman that, crying, he should be sleeping if he's not driving anyway. He signed a contract. Okay, yes, it's a commercial driver's license. It's a federal driver's license, but you can carry a weapon in your vehicle. Now, if you're afraid of carrying a weapon, Miami Vice 30 years ago told me carry a flare gun, Bob.
Well, wait a second. I'm confused. You got through telling me, it's a federal driver's license, but you can carry a weapon. But if you're afraid to carry a weapon, why would you be afraid if it's legal?
No, wait a minute. Back up. You confused me. They're afraid of being busted by their company.
Oh, okay. Oh, the company.
They signed a contract.
Gotcha.
They signed a contract. You got me? Okay. Now, I'm not, I don't fear. The fear is your worst enemy. And people need to get over the fear of the IRS, the fear of left-wing liberals, the fear of Trump not doing what he was told to do, and he's going to do it. We need to give him another 4 years, but that's besides the point. But now, like the Miami Vice told me, the New York State Patrol told me, there's a state that's real picky. Okay, I remember when my old man used to carry a sawed-off shotgun back in the 70s when the strikes were going on. Okay, and like you said about schools, I remember going to school with 2 rifles in the back of the window. And I also had a knife in my pocket, and I never, ever decided to pull that knife out. It was a fist fight. We got it over with. We bought each other a drink. Well, we didn't buy, but you know what I mean.
Right.
Anyway, but it's the contract that these people are scared of. People sign a contract to get just about anything done in life anymore because the company wants to know this. There's guys that'll get fired for pulling over to help a vehicle. Okay? I've seen it. I've had it happen where we can't pull over and help you. I'll get fired. Seriously, dude, it's 30 below out and you're not going to help me because you're afraid of getting fired? Okay? Yeah. I've been around this business all my life, Rick. All my life. And I'm 53 years old and I'm shy of 4 million miles. So like I told you back here a week ago, I started at a very, very young age in the semi.
I remember that story, yeah.
All right, I'm not blowing smoke up.
No. Yeah. I don't think you're. Let me ask you something. What do you think? What do you think a driver's, and I'm talking professional driver, what do you think a driver's biggest fear is today?
Getting laid over and having to spend the night anymore. You know what? If you're parked, it is. They're afraid of leaving their house. They're afraid of sleeping in their truck. They're afraid of not getting paid. Okay? These rest areas, and, if you're pulling on an off-ramp, do it in the state of Nebraska. It'll cost you a lot of damn money. Okay? So, there's just, they're afraid of leaving home. That's what it is. Because, you know what?
I don't think a lot of people, like myself, I'm not a professional driver, but I don't think a lot of us realize that. We're blasting down the highway. I used to drive from Dallas to San Diego. I do it maybe twice a year because it was therapeutic, 4 a.m, nothing out but drivers. Yep. It was nice until my appendix burst in Tucumcari, New Mexico. I almost died. That was a different deal. But I don't think most people like myself know what drivers put up with. We just go on down, we see a rest stop, and we see the parking lights on about 30 rigs, and we think, oh, they're all tucked in watching, reruns of Cheers, and everything's cool. But you're saying that's probably not it.
Well, I'm not, like you use the word think, and my grandma always taught me, don't tell somebody what they think. The word assuming has been blown way out of proportion because when I tell you what I think, that means it's my opinion. Now, when I'm telling you what I assume, it could be anybody's opinion. Yeah. But here's what I'm going to tell you, okay?
No,
my grandfather was a wise man. He looked at a glass, not half full, not half empty. Are you going to drink it or am I?
That's good. I like that. Listen, don't be a stranger. Want to hear from you again. 866-90-RED-EYE. That's 866-907-3339. And now your national forecast.
Rain that was in the southern U.S. yesterday has moved into the northeast and mid-Atlantic up and down the I-95 corridor. You'll have your wipers on most of the way today. Fortunately, for places like Boston, the high temperature will remain in the 40s, so too warm to support snow. Also for New York City, 48 today's high. Same for Philadelphia, 61 in Washington, D.C. Chicago will pick up those light snow flurries at least until later in the day today with a high of 38. For Indianapolis, Minneapolis clearing after some rain showers went through yesterday, high 41. Kansas City, mostly cloudy, 38. Dallas will see another 55-degree high today. For Atlanta, again, the rain ending, now moving up to the northeast, high today, 57. Snow flurries are winding down for northern sections of Wisconsin and Minnesota, and after today, it'll be clear in the region for the rest of the week. Your national forecast from Red Eye Radio. I'm meteorologist John Trout.
Lines are open. 1-866-907-3339. 866-90-RED-EYE. Now, for Gary McNamara and Eric Harley, Rick Roberts.
And thank you so much. Always a pleasure to be in for the guys when they're away. If you're looking for a list of stations, podcast, you want to listen live to the full 5-hour show, you can do that on the app or the Listen Live button at redeyeradioshow.com. All right, let me get to as many calls as I can. Leroy in New Jersey. Leroy, thank you for waiting. Hi.
Thank you, sir, and Happy New Year to you.
And you. Thank you.
Okay. My topic is very simple. I'm concerned about the situation involving the illegal aliens that have come into our country. I hear some estimates anywhere from 18 to 25 million of them. My point is this, sir. Every American has the opportunity as a citizen to work and what have you, and have money deducted from their paychecks, so that when they hit a certain age, they have an income. My point is this: if you have 18 to 25 million people who do not have legal status and do not have money deducted from their money, what are they going to do when they hit 60 or 65? The country's going to be bankrupt because you got to support these people. You're going to have to pay for them. You just can't let them stand there and be broke. You know what I mean?
No, I do. And that's why I've always been a big proponent. We got to call a moratorium. Everything stops until we figure out what we've got to deal with right now. Once we know what we've got to deal with, then we'll work out a plan, and it's going to be a long-term plan of what to do. You got to go, deportation, vet you to see what your background is. I mean, you can't let the thing go like it's going now. I remember when Trump said, we got to call for a moratorium from parts of the country where Islam has been radicalized. Hell, I said that 5 years ago. Until you monitor the mosques you have, why would you continue to add to the problem if you don't even know what you've got? Does that make sense?
I understand that, but what amazes me, across the river in New York City, they're giving illegal aliens driver's licenses. Now, what I don't understand is, if you got someone who's illegal, their opportunity to get a decent paying job is very sparse. It's not going to happen. So how could they afford the money to have a car? How could they afford the money to buy an SUV? It just ain't happening. And meanwhile, all these people are going to be on the road, and they don't even have insurance. So if you get hit by one of these people in one of their vehicles, what do? You have no option.
No, you're absolutely right. And it's something, of course, it's an election year, so everything's pretty moot when it comes to illegal aliens. Nobody wants to upset the Hispanic vote. But here in Texas, you can go get insurance without a driver's license. You don't even have to speak the language. California is a good example. They issue driver's licenses in 18 different languages. Problem is, the street signs and highway signs are in one, English.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely right.
So your concerns are more founded.
Yeah, it's true. Just one quick final comment. I understand that because of like cities like New York and Newark, New Jersey, that what they're doing now is they're appealing to the state for budget money to build more schools to accommodate the flow of children of illegal aliens, and they built 3 new schools in the state here in Jersey that majority of the students are the children of illegal aliens. Now, where did that money come from?
Well, it's coming, as I said the other day, and I don't mean to be redundant, but the government can't give anyone anything without first taking it from someone else. Anytime the government says, oh, we got a new government program, what they're really saying is, hey, we're taking more money out of taxpayer pockets to try and take care of this problem or that problem. Be sure and remember that when you go vote. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all upside down. And I'm waiting patiently, and of course you can't blame him. He's in the middle of the impeachment mess. Trump needs to hit this, needs to hit it again. You know, the last time he threatened Mexico, they did a pretty good job of sealing up their border. We've got to figure out how many illegals we have in this country, how many of them have criminal backgrounds and need to be deported because they weren't properly vetted or they came in illegally. No, and I'm no world historian, but no country on planet Earth has ever been able to survive for any length of time without building and maintaining border control. Can't be done. It's impossible. Man, I'm glad you brought that up. We need to hit that even more. Appreciate the call very, very much. Let's go to Jimmy in New York City. Jimmy, thank you for waiting. How you doing, Jimmy?
Let me tell you something. I adore you, Mr. Roberts. I really do. I love your voice, and I waited so long last time for you. I had to shave, but that's why I'm calling back.
Thank you.
You know, about this carry and conceal thing, I'm just going back on because that was my topic earlier. We had a cop here that got slapped in, the sucker punch, they called it, and the cretin didn't know that it was an off-duty cop, and they came to his aid, whatever. He was out in 3 hours.
Yep.
Okay? Yep. And he was sitting back on the street again. And my fear is this. Fear meaning that you do this, you hit the cop, and now he was out 3 hours later back on the street. Now, we're going to have this revolving door coming January 1st. I welcome in the new year, and I thank God for every day and every second, take nothing for granted. I got my beautiful mother who's alive and well. I'm blessed. But my fear is this. You're going to have these animals, yes, animals, no matter what color and all that other garbage that people want to spew and put down your throat that you're racist, this and that. But what's going to be here? It's going to be like the OK Corral. I go to church. I'm a devout Catholic. Yes, I go to church. I sit there, my congregation, the church is packed, and every now and again I'll look up and I'll always eye everything and make sure that everything's all right.
Yeah.
Now, whomever has a gun, like the marshals on the plane, if somebody gets up, and I always worry if somebody pulls out a gun, but we're going to do what we have to do in our parish. And there was a man that was yelling at you, so he was just screaming earlier. I forget his name. But you know what? They should go look at him because he sounded like he was off the charts. I believe he was from California. The land of tents and fecal matter in the street. I mean, what are we becoming as a society, sir? Mr. Roberts, do you see anything happening for the betterment of the country? The only good thing that we have is the greatest historical president of the United States of America and in American history. And about the schools being built, you don't hear anyone speaking English no more. Am I putting the end of people coming down? How could illegals get a license when they're illegal? How do you do it? That don't even make sense to me. De Blasio and Cuomo who signed about the abortion laws, that it's all right to kill the babies, and de Blasio who's got the cops' hands tied. I have a niece and a nephew who are policemen in New York City. And do you think I worry about them every day? Yes, I do. I pray to God that they get out and live and be happy. But what are we going to do? Where do we go from here?
Well, let me jump in. First of all, I appreciate your passion. Here's the thing. Once upon a time, there was a governor of a big state called California. His name was Governor Gray Davis. In an effort to try and cling to his governorship, he decided he'd come up with the idea of giving illegals driver's licenses. You and I both know a driver's license is a breeder document. A breeder document in the sense, if you have one, you can get another and another and another. Myself, Richard Riordan, and a few others would meet Arnold Schwarzenegger every other weekend in different hotel banquet rooms and strategize our recall movement on Governor Gray Davis. Of course, at the time, we didn't know Maria Shriver was running everything, but that's neither here nor there. We got him recalled just for that, just for offering to give illegals driver's licenses. The man lost his job. He was recalled. Now, in New York, it's like, oh, yeah, that's what we're doing. Well, how can you do that? Have you fully vetted these people? Do you know what their criminal background is? Are you trying to make it easier for your police or rougher for the police? You're absolutely right. Please don't be a stranger. I want to hear from you again. It's ridiculous. It is beyond ridiculous. Yes, I think we've got the right guy in the right place. He needs to be reelected for 4 more years. You ask me if I can regress for a moment. You ask me if I believe there was something good coming for the country. Yes, I believe Donald Trump will be reelected for 4 more years. And look what he's been able to accomplish fighting everyone, fighting the Democrats, fighting the never-Trumpers, fighting the FBI, the Department of Justice, fighting all the mainstream and lamestream media, and he's still been able to pull us out when everybody else said it couldn't be done. Bringing businesses back, getting rid of burdensome regulation, bringing some respect and dignity to our military, which should have always deserved it, and getting them back where they should be. Telling the rest of the world, I'm sorry, we're not going to be your redheaded stepchild. We're no longer, the United States of America is no longer anybody's doormat. You want to deal with us, it better be a fair deal or go pound sand. So yes, sir, I do see something positive coming. I see the re-election of Donald Trump. I'm Rick Roberts. This is Red Eye Radio.
There's a new Shell Rotella engine oil for gas engines. Shell Rotella Gas Truck is available now. Megan Pino, Shell Rotella Global Brand Manager, tells us what was behind the development and more about the product.
Obviously, Shell Rotella's heritage is heavy-duty engine oil, and that will remain our heritage. And we know that our customers work hard, but they also love to play hard. And many of our customers also own a gasoline-powered pickup truck SUV, and perhaps as a personal vehicle or as part of the business. We also know that truck owners use their trucks for different purposes than a car, to be able to tow something, whether that's an RV or a boat for fun on the weekend, for your business, for hauling equipment. So you're doing something different with your truck than you are with a car. And so why use the same motor oil that you would in your car as your truck? There are 3 viscosity grades: 0W20, 5W20, and 5W30, which covers any gasoline-powered pickup truck or SUV in terms of the manufacturer recommendations.
For more, go to Rotella.com. This engine report is a service of Shell Rotella.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90-RED-EYE on Red Eye Radio.
All across America, it's Red Eye Radio. I'm Rick Roberts, in for Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. Always a pleasure when I'm available to come over when the guys are gone, and glad you're along as well. All right, let me get right to it. Let's go to Steve. Steve, someplace in California. Steve, how you doing?
Yeah, Farrell, California. Good morning.
Hola.
I believe many across the country are thinking what I'm about to say, and that is the move to hand out free driver's licenses to illegals is nothing more than a strategy to create new Democrat voters.
Correct.
And there's nothing democratic about Democrat Party. So I wish we would stop calling it Democratic Party. It is not the Democratic Party. It is the Democrat Party.
Well, I get email on that every day. most people don't get hung up on that. They know the difference between Democratic and whatever it is the liberals are doing within the party. And you're right. I mean, all of these breeder documents, all of this stuff is designed to do one thing. When they get their driver's licenses, they get registered to vote. Which way do you think they're going to go? Democrats have one platform and one platform only, Charles. Vote for me and I will give you stuff from the public treasury. That's it. It's not about opportunity. It's not about working your butt off. It's not about luck. It's up to you whether you succeed or fail, rise or fall. It's vote for me. Because here's why. Government, and we're talking city, county, state, federal, government can only increase in size and scope by the number of people dependent upon it. The more people that are dependent on government, the larger government can grow. And it's just that simple. Now, if you've got a bunch of critical thinkers, hard workers, self-sustainers, the people that built this country, especially in the flyover states. I'm not talking about the left or right coast, no offense, but I mean, the flyover states, Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, Kansas, all of these states, that's the glue that keeps everything together. They're critical thinkers. They're self-sustaining. They don't want anything from anyone, and they don't want the government in their business. They're no good to Democrats. That's why Democrats don't lobby and don't work very hard during an election year in those states, because they know those people don't need them. They're looking for people that want to be dependent on government. They want to be the government those people depend on. That's how it works. Listen, man, I hate to walk away with full lines. If you didn't get on, I will be with you tonight. Join me tonight. We'll rectify that. Oh, by the way, you're not going to believe what Biden said about Obama. I'll tell you that right off the bat. I'm Rick Roberts. This is Red Eye Radio.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.